the age of social media, all it takes nowadays to spark up an online fight is to merely have an opinion. One opinion will cause many to spiral into a pit hole of anger where no one dialogues, only insults the person who has the unpopular or even the popular opinion regarding the latest trends in comic books, movies, or pulp culture. It makes sense given the circumstance. After all, acting tough behind the protective wall of the black mirror we all own and use on a daily basis makes it easy for anyone to jump right into a tirade of insults and threats. Again, just for having an opinion that they may disagree with. I decided to go against that notion. I've decided to start a video series where we discuss the hot topic issues within the comic book industry and pulp culture and provide you with another perspective. One of logic, reason, with just plain old dialogue between two people who have different opinions. My co-host and I will discuss the pop culture topics at hand in a fun, engaging, and respectable manner. So, without further ado, let's talk about it.
And she says, well, you know, that's not very professional. I said, and you're a very mean-spirited lady. Go away. Go suck an egg. And I hung up on her. First of all, nobody ever talks about this, but the comic book industry from its very start was programmed to make cowards out of the people who practice it. From Simon & Schuster on, everybody was always made afraid. If you don't do what we tell you, work for hire, you're out of a job and you'll never work in this industry. There was always the two big monolithic companies, Marvel and DC, and if you pissed one of them off, you only had the other one to go to, so the other one knew it was getting you for nothing. That's what I hated about Jim Shooter. When he was the editor at Marvel, he bullied people who had no place else to go. It's an industry that has been based on transigence and transitory need. Here today and gone tomorrow, you throw it out. Your mother threw this crap out. That's what it was all about. So it couldn't be worth anything. So artists were always made to feel that they were insignificant, that what they did was unimportant. No one ever said to them, you are producing American literature. You are producing a Native American art form, something that has intrinsic worth because it is one of a kind. The rest of the world imitates it and lauds it and honors it. There's no stamp with Milton Caniff on it. There's no stamp with Crazy Cat on it.
Hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Julius, and with me, as always, is
Kyle.
That was a video from, if you guys don't know, that was the author, a very famous sci-fi author, Harlan Ellison, who was very outspoken. And the video I wanted to share because I thought it fit the theme of today's show. But before we talk about that, Kyle, how was your week, man? I know last week Kyle was sick. He came down with the flu that was going around here in Southern California, apparently. And he got knocked out for a week. He was gone for a whole week. And
it was bad.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So that's why there was no show last week. But Kyle, how have you been, man? How are you doing now?
Well, besides all of that, of the
Right.
flu and everything, much better. But I did feel well enough last Saturday to go to Cal Comic Con, which is a small comic book convention put on by just one of the vendors that I see at the comic book conventions, and he puts on, he knows a whole bunch of people and all the other vendors, so they all kind of get together and when in a Hilton ballroom type area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he's got at least a couple people that show up, like notable names last year, and I think this year too, or I know this year, but I think last year was the same people. There was Howard Chaykin and Jim Starlin.
Jim Starlin.
And I met Howard Chaykin last year. This year was with Jim Starlin. And there he is. I got my Infinity Gauntlet #1 signed by him.
Nice.
Can't really see it in this photo. I have another photo that has it, but cool guy, fun guy. Yeah, there it is. The signature right there on the gauntlet. It doesn't show up great here on the photo, but it's actually, he signed it with a metallic silver pen where if you catch it in the light, it's all reflective chrome.
That's
And
cool.
so it looks so cool. And so I love the way it turned out. I don't have it here physically because I sent it in to get graded, and it's gonna be a nice spot on my wall with it all.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, cool dude, nice guy. And then I picked up some other really cool stuff as well. I picked up some early Green Lantern from the 60s. This is number 34 with him fighting a giant lizard.
Oh, nice. Gil Kane. Very nice.
Gil Kane, yeah, he drew it. It's really cool. And then I also picked up this one, number 31. I think also.
Oh, nice.
So got those. And then I picked up, this is technically the first appearance of the Carnage symbiote. Not Carnage with Cletus Cassidy, Carnage symbiote.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So there's
key
a
issue there.
panel. There's a panel in here where it shows the portion of Venom splitting off and then dripping onto Cletus Cassidy. And then
Very nice.
few issues later, that's when you get the actual one with him being Carnage. So I'm gonna get this one signed by Mark Bagley in a few months.
Very
Who
cool.
was the co-creator of Carnage. And then I picked up this really awesome one. This is one that I've been wanting to have in my Captain America collection for a while now. And I got it for a pretty good price. It's Captain America number 6, Ed Brubaker, First Winter Soldier.
Look at you picking up those key issues, man.
I know.
I should
Man
just
at
call
a
you the
time.
key master from going forward, because you just every week it seems like you're always finding these not big key issues, obviously, but key
No.
issues nonetheless.
First
And
Winter
this is
Soldier
that's
great,
a
yeah.
big one. Winter Soldier is a big one because he's become a staple in the Marvel universe now, and he's now synonymous with Captain America.
Oh yeah.
But too bad, Disney and Marvel messed that one up. But we won't get into that.
We won't get into that. But then I got last two.
Oh, that's too okay.
It says I picked up at my local comic shop. He had a great deal where he was doing half off everything, and he had just gotten these books in. I don't think he got number 5, which is the first appearance, but I did pick up some early Ghost Riders.
Oh,
Ghost Rider
nice.
Marvel Spotlight Ghost Rider number 8.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Cometh the Witchman. And then this is the big one that I got. It was really cool. Marvel Spotlight number 6, the second appearance of Ghost Rider.
Hey, that's something.
You know, it's some. I know it's not his first appearance. That's great. That's a little bit more out of my price range, but second appearance of Ghost Rider is still pretty cool to get.
Heck yeah, it is.
So
that's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
I am really glad that I picked up those books.
Well, I know normally I don't share what I picked up because I always leave that to you, because it's always fun to see, I guess newish comic book readers / collectors find stuff and get excited to find them. But I'm going to share mine because this is a cover I've been wanting for a long time, and it just simply because of the cover, not so much because I wanted the issue itself.
Yeah,
strictly for the cover, even though it was dirt cheap. It was $2 because there's pencil drawing all over the place. But I don't care about that kind
take
of thing.
it where you get it.
Yeah, I don't care about that kind of thing. So I got gotta get this thing off. Hold on, give me a second here. Give me a second. There we go. Right there.
Oh, that's a classic cover.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, buddy. Yeah,
What number is it?
Huh?
What number is it?
It's number 170. Iron Man 170. So
That's
I just
cool.
wanted this because of the cover, and when I saw it in the back bin, I was like, $2. Wow. But then I looked closely, and I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the pencil marks on the mask, on the helmet?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that? So I was like, you know what? I'll take it.
But if it's just pencil marks, you could probably just use an eraser and gently try to get it off.
I don't want to risk. I don't want to risk ruining, an awesome cover like that. So
Yeah.
no, I probably won't do that. I'll just leave it as is, and
Yeah.
I have the issue, so at least I have that. So I really don't care. I just wanted the cover. I've
$2.
always wanted to own it. So
Yeah. That's a really cool one. I'm
Yeah,
kind of jealous.
yeah.
I want that one too.
yeah, man, I saw it for $2 too, and I was like, I can't pass this. I don't care if it has pencil. I can't pass this up because I've been
Yeah.
looking for that specific cover for years, and that's only because I saw it once, I think in Wizard magazine years ago, and I've always liked that cover, and I don't know why. I just like the ominous, like the mystery, right? This is
Yeah.
for me, it's like this is how you do a cover to get new readers to pick up, new books, certain
Yeah.
book that you're not accustomed to. So I've always liked it. I always like to study it. But yeah, I picked that one up.
That's cool.
Also,
Yeah.
I found this in my collection that I forgot I had. And I recommend every aspiring comic book creator alongside comic book readers like yourself, Kyle, especially if you want to expand your horizons on reading certain, or finding certain books. This right here.
Oh, what is that?
It's called Graphic Novels, Everything You Need to Know. Now, this book was the book that introduced me to a lot of, I don't want to say off color, but a lot of books that are outside the superhero genre. I mean, it still has a superhero genre. There's chapters dedicated to the superhero genre, but there's chapters that are dedicated to like drama, sci-fi, fantasy, romance, even. And
Okay.
a lot of them are indie books. So, like for instance, let me see if I can find one here. Let's see here. Let me find. So, for instance, here's a chapter called In the Mind's Eye, and these are mainly books that are kind of out there, cerebral, very edgy, and for the most part, indie, like purely indie because of the content, and it has like spotlights on certain books that covered that certain theme, and it's a great book. Like I said, it's I highly recommend it, especially if you want to broaden your horizons as a comic book reader or creator. Because it does introduce you to a lot of cool books and this is how I discovered Mobius, by the way.
Oh, really?
There's a chapter here on Mobius, and that's how I learned about his work was because of this book and how they wrote this essay about how he, revolutionized the sci-fi genre in France. And I loved his artwork. And then on top of that, they mentioned that he also was an influence on George Lucas. So I was like, well, if he influenced George Lucas, then I got to check him out. And that led me to look for his books and look for his work. So I recommend it.
When was this printed?
Oh man, this is like, I don't even know. I bought this years ago, and I totally forgot I had it until I saw it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this book. Let's see if I can find it here. This was printed in 2005.
Oh, okay.
So I saw it in my Barnes & Noble. It was on sale for $22. It's originally $30, and so I saw it for $22. I was like, well, I'm gonna get it. So I'm happy that I did, because it was definitely worth the pickup.
Worth the pickup, eh?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But I highly recommend you guys check it out. Once again, the book is called Graphic Novels, Everything You Need to Know. I highly recommend it. It's worth it. So check that one out.
Cool. Sounds good.
So speaking of comics and superhero genres and what have you, Fantastic Four trailer.
Yes.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was good.
You thought it was good, huh?
Yeah. Well, are we gonna watch it here for your viewing
Well,
pleasure?
we'll talk about. I'm not gonna play the sound.
Okay.
We make a point to
I'll
do
put it
family
low,
dinner.
and we could talk about it over as it's playing. But what'd you think?
I liked it. I liked the 60s vibe that it's giving off, or like the
Justin?
futuristic 60s vibe, like
Now, what'd you think of the thing? Because I saw online that everyone was kind of bashing the CGI of the thing, but I personally think it looks great because it's the most comic book accurate thing I've seen in the different iterations of the Fantastic Four movie that we've gotten over the years.
Yes.
It looks like Kirby. It looks like Alex Ross.
Yeah, I was about
and
to
no
say
doubt
that.
Alex Ross took a page from Kirby, which is how he designed the thing when he painted him. Spot on. I mean, this is like straight up from the comic book. And when I first saw this, as much as people didn't like the CGI for some reason, I thought it was spot on personally. But what'd you think though?
I was just about to say that. Like, I wish I had the Alex Ross cover of the thing, so I could show it like side by side. But yeah, it looks almost identical to that. And so, yeah, of course, me being an Alex Ross fan, I really do like it. Now, the only thing is that the actor, the voice that they have for him seems a bit off, just a little bit.
Let's see. Let's hear it.
Okay. Is this guy good or what?
A little soft, you think?
Yeah, I would feel like, I mean, like, not to be a joke or anything like that, but I was hoping a little bit more gruff in his voice.
Pun intended.
They're rocks. So,
Yeah, I mean, this is a teaser trailer, so maybe they're going to hear people gripe about it and they might change it.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
But as it is, it's fine. Yeah.
Not because it's not delicious. I just want to add a little bit of zip. Okay.
So what else?
Let's see. Mr. Fantastic, Pedro Pascal. He was the only one in the trailer that we didn't see his powers. Out of all four of them. So I'm wondering whether or not the CGI is still being worked on for him.
Probably.
Or maybe it has to do with something about the storyline or something. Maybe, I don't know. I've heard different things.
What do you think of the casting?
Like overall?
Of Pedro Pascal playing Mr. Fantastic. And the chat, the people listening, let us know your thoughts too. What do you guys think of the trailer? What do you guys think of Pedro Pascal being cast as Mr. Fantastic? Let your thoughts be known, but go ahead, Kyle.
I think I probably would have gone with somebody else.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem like the Reed Richards type.
Is it because you're a racist and you don't like Mexicans, Kyle?
Exactly.
Or in this case, Chileans.
Well, I was
just joking.
I was just hoping that they would do like, I mean, they did the fan casting for Mr. Fantastic with John Krasinski.
Yeah. Everyone. It seemed like everyone was kind of hoping he'd get it, but they chose a different direction. They're probably going to do something. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do here. This is phase 6, 7? What phase?
I don't even know. I can't even keep track.
Well,
6, I think.
This is probably the beginning of a new phase because they've acquired 20th Century Fox, Disney, and they're going to slowly introduce these characters that belong to Marvel Comics into the MCU. Yeah. And so, maybe this is the beginning of a new renaissance for Marvel for the MCU, I should say. So we'll see what they're going to do, but go on.
I'm looking forward to seeing Johnny here because I do know the actor from the Stranger Things TV show. And
I'm not a fan of Pedro on this role because I'm a racist. But mostly I'm just over him. He's in everything these days. Yeah. When Hollywood finds their it guy or their it girl, they got to be on everything because box office receipts don't lie, my friend. And I think, I shouldn't say box office. I think popularity. I think the fact that he did so well in Mandalorian, that he gained such a huge following after that, and he did. I mean, for the record, I thought he was fantastic as Jin.
But then since then he's been in he was in the Gladiator 2 movie.
He was in Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't a fan of his character in Wonder Woman 1984. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more, and we didn't get that in that.
He was in the Nick Cage movie.
That's right, a cult classic from what I hear. It's apparently a very Very fun movie if you're a Nicolas Cage fan. But if you're not a Nicolas Cage fan, people don't really like that movie. Ben says, also don't love Joe Quinn as Human Torch. He was great in Stranger Things, but not right for this role. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing too, Ben. That I mean, of course, he pretty much everyone fell in love with this guy after Stranger Things, and rightfully so, because he was fantastic in that. I mean,
I watched. I have to disagree with you, Ben. I actually do. I am looking forward to seeing him as Human Torch. I feel like he would do well in that role as sort of like the fun goofball type character, but still get serious when the time comes. And
yeah,
then,
I agree. Yeah, I think we're gonna see that. I'm not a fan of the haircut. I kind of wish they gave him a little bit longer hair. I mean, I don't know. It just seems his hair seems off to me. I don't know what it is.
Maybe it's just too light.
No, it's too short for me.
It's too short.
Yeah, I kind of imagine Johnny Storm as a played by a real life actor to have longer hair, longer wavy hair, kind of looking like a pretty boy, because he is a playboy in the comics. He's the guy who, has two women on his arms and says, "I'll be back," and takes off and does what he does, right? So I feel like I don't know, either the wig or his haircut, I don't know if that's his real hair or not, was a bit too short. I don't know, it just seems off for me. It didn't come off as, he doesn't come off as playboy to me. He comes off as awkward and like weird. And Johnny Storm shouldn't he shouldn't come off awkward and weird. He should come off as confident and cocky, which is why Chris Evans' Human Torch portrayal was perfect, because I thought he portrayed Johnny Storm perfectly.
Okay.
That's my opinion, though, about it. Chris Pratt wasn't popular when he came on as Star-Lord. Yeah, that's true. He wasn't, but he how can I say it? He made that role so unique and so fun that by the end of the movie, you wanted to see more of Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And I didn't know who Chris Pratt was. When I saw him on the trailer, I was like, who the hell is that guy? I don't care about that guy. But when I watched the movie, I was like, this guy's funny. This guy's actually pretty funny, So you're right, but we'll see. We'll see how he does it in the movie. Zac Efron would have been a great Johnny Storm. Oh yeah, he would have been pretty good.
Yeah,
actually, yeah. I don't know how he would do it with his voice that he talks like this.
Oh, is that his voice now?
It kind of sounds like that. Yeah. Justin Soto says, my wife thought they de-aged Freddie Prinze Jr. for Johnny Storm.
He does kind of look like him.
You're right, dude. He does. He does kind of look like Freddie Jones from Scooby-Doo. You're right. Again, they should have given him longer hair. I think that would have worked. But maybe, again, it's a creative choice. Maybe, hopefully it pays off. Maybe it won't, but we'll find out when the movie comes out.
And then Sue Storm, she, I know her. The main thing I know her from is from the Mission Impossible movies, the newer ones.
That's right. I couldn't put my finger on it, but okay, that's right. You're right. That's where I saw her from.
She's a good actress. I like her. So I'm excited to see her.
She's very easy to look at too.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So
now, do you see her cheating on Pedro Pascal with Namor?
Not the Namor from Black Panther 2. No way. No way.
No.
No.
Yeah, there he is. So you're saying, yeah, I guess I can see that. Yeah, the shorter hair.
Yeah, it's just too short. And I like this car. This car was cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's from the comic. I'm sure it's from the comic books. But I dug it. I thought it was a really cool looking car. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with it. Yeah, it's really good. It's really cool. I like the design.
It almost looks like the Incredicar.
Yeah, from the Incredibles. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's where the Incredibles got it from.
Right.
I'm sure that's where Brad Bird, took it from, because obviously the Incredibles is an obvious Fantastic Four movie, but without it being Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Brad Bird took a page from a Kirby comic and put it into the Incredibles.
I like the, him flying around.
And of course, the money shot, man.
Yeah.
We're finally gonna get a good Galactus. No, not a
Yeah.
stupid smoky cloud. We're actually gonna get a Galactus walking around New York. That's awesome, dude. This actually got me pumped. So the first half of the trailer was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But the moment I saw this, it sold me. I was like, oh, all right.
All right.
I'm
We're doing
excited.
it.
Now I'm
They're
excited.
going
for
all
this.
in.
Yeah, I'm excited for this now because that's what I've always wanted to see whenever they announced a Fantastic Four movie. I wanted to see Galactus like this as a giant walking around New York City.
Yeah,
we're finally gonna get it.
straight out of the Kirby book.
Exactly, dude. Straight out of Kirby.
As a family.
Great.
I see people. What's your thoughts on the suits in that final shot?
I don't mind them. And the reason why is because, we have to remember it's the 60s. It's taking place in the 60s. So it would look like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to have to do something to do with their powers, just like in the comics. Mr. Fantastic is a genius, right, in the comics, and he makes suits specific to the individual powers of the family.
Yeah.
And so I'm fine with it, dude. Honestly, like I don't mind it because it's supposed to be if the rumors are true, this is supposed to be a different dimension and not the actual MCU that we know that Captain America, came from, and the Avengers and all that stuff. This is a different dimension, but we'll find out when the movie comes out.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
Ben says they look out of a Batman TV show. That's fair.
Steve Willikers Batman.
Bugs me that the suits aren't uniform. Yeah, that's been the gripe that a lot of Fantastic Four fans have been mentioning online from what I've seen. And I can't sit here and say that I'm a huge Fantastic Four fan. No, I'm not. I have read a few issues. I did, however, read Mark Millar's run on Ultimate Fantastic Four, and he made me really like Fantastic Four from that run. Even though it's from the Ultimate Universe and it wasn't, from the 616 Earth, right? Or realm or whatever it's called.
Yeah, 616.
But I dug it. And so that was enough for me to get an idea of what the Fantastic Four dynamic was, even though it was in the Ultimate Universe. So I have like a semblance of appreciation for the first family of Marvel.
Yeah. I'm looking forward.
It was a better one. Full disclosure, I've made no secret that I'm a huge Superman fan, and I'm gonna watch James Gunn's Superman regardless because it's Superman, and I'll watch whatever that they make with the character. But this trailer got me more hyped to watch this movie over Superman.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it was. It surprised me even.
Yeah.
But this is how you do a proper teaser trailer, in my opinion. They give you obviously the origin. We all, the comic book fans know the origin of the Fantastic Four. Casual viewers may not because there's been a whole gap of a generation gap since the last movie.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be new for them. So that's going to be nice.
And those movies have been horrible.
Oh yeah,
the last one.
I mean the first original two were okay. They were fun.
Yeah.
But Doctor Doom didn't land for me, of course, like everyone else. So this one really got me hyped, and all because of Galactus.
Yeah.
Just simply because of Galactus. So now I'm more hyped to watch it.
And sure. I think Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is supposed to make an appearance in this.
We'll see.
Maybe a end credit scene or something.
We'll see, man. I'm not going to speculate on anything anymore because you just never know nowadays. Ben says, honestly, I like what I've seen so far. Just not a fan of the casting for Reed and Johnny. I like the retro space age vibes. Same here, man. Same here, Ben. That really, I liked it. I was surprised. I honestly was surprised at how much I enjoyed this. And now I'm like, I'm going to watch this. I actually am going to watch this in the theater. I'm gonna make an effort to
Yeah.
take my 5-year-old because she's old enough now, and I think this is gonna be kid friendly for the most part. So I'll be able to take her with me to watch this. So
Watch
it's gonna
it
be
be
great.
like a hard R movie, and it's like, oh
Oh,
yeah, it's all 60s, and then they're like, like killing people and heads are
I have
being chopped
a
off.
I have a feeling she might freak out over Galactus. That might freak her out.
Yeah.
I can imagine any 5-year-old seeing a giant walking down downtown New York is gonna freak her out.
But you just
'Cause,
say to her, well, you're not in New York, so it's fine.
Yeah, I know, and I gotta remind her it's a movie as well. It's not real. But my overall thoughts, yeah, I'm really stoked about this. I really am. What about you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'll definitely go and see it. It's one that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking this because I think it is supposed to release pretty close or at the same time as Superman. So
Yeah,
it'd be
yeah, there
interesting to
it's
see.
like it's literally head to head from what I
Yeah,
hear.
it's literally going to be a Marvel versus DC of
Yeah, yeah.
who's going to like bring in the audience.
And there are going to be 2 springboard movies.
Yeah.
Superman's going to springboard the new DCEU under James Gunn, and this one, Fantastic Four, is going to springboard the new MCU with now that the X-Men are now under the Disney umbrella,
And them.
and also all the rest of the 20th century properties that Marvel sold off to will also be integrated. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of years for Marvel if they do it right. And the question now remains: are they going to give proper credit to the creators of the Fantastic Four?
Oh, well, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they have a track record of it.
No, they don't. They really don't. And the reason why I say that with such a sarcastic tone is because earlier, I think it was yesterday, when Rob Liefeld went on Twitter and also on his podcast and shared some insider information as to how he was snubbed by Kevin Feige during the Deadpool Wolverine premiere. And apparently, according to Rob Liefeld, his family, himself as well, were not invited to the after party. The pictures that he took with the actors involved and everything, I guess supposedly they were deleted by Marvel executives. I guess Marvel people told the photographers to delete and don't even share them around. That's all him. It's hearsay. It's alleged. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's according to Rob Liefeld. And they created a kind of a excuse my language, a shitstorm amongst the comic book aficionados and creators alike. It kind of stirred me up a little bit, I'll admit. I typically don't like to get involved in kind of like stuff like that, but this irked me because it just added on to the fuel of my hatred towards Hollywood in general. And here's the one of the tweets in question where Liefeld tweeted out saying, yes, comic book creators should not have to fight to be seen. Yes, our credits should go at the start of the film like Siegel and Shuster, as opposed to buried in the mid crawl after credits. This is not a fresh position for me. And like I said, I don't like to like mention or share my thoughts, but this one irked me because if true, it just added fuel to the hatred of Hollywood, but also it destroyed the assumption or the benefit of the doubt I had for Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige, to his credit, was able to take the comic book medium and properly find a way to make it streamlined for the casual viewer, the people who don't read comics.
Yeah.
He figured out, okay, let's find the middle ground here where we could, make the comic book fans happy, but at the same time not lose the general audience, because the general audience are the people who bring in the money. I mean, the fandoms of these books are huge, but they're not as big as the general audience.
No, you don't have random people off the street, saying, "Oh, I love Thor," because they've read the comic books. They love to say, "Oh yeah, I like Thor because Chris Hemsworth plays him in the movies."
Yeah, and the movie was good. It was entertaining. It's pretty cool. You know,
Yeah.
Norse mythology, awesome, but they don't know anything that it was a comic book at all. And you know, the benefit of the doubt that I'm talking about goes back to 2012 when Kevin Feige brought all the A-list Hollywood actors to the San Diego Comic-Con and they announced Avengers. Now, that was great. It brought attention to San Diego Comic-Con. It transformed San Diego Comic-Con from a comic book convention to a pop culture convention. And okay, fine. You know, that's the way it is. The market forces are going to do what market forces do. But my biggest gripe when he did that was, why didn't he shout out Stan Lee and Jack Kirby? Why didn't he shout out the comic book vendors and the comic book shops that held those books, that sold them to the readers in the first place? Like, you're at a comic book convention, dude. Like, you could have at the very least, given a minute of your time to just shout out the comic book community for making it possible to create enough buzz and hype to want to watch an Avengers movie. And I took it as, well, he's busy. Maybe he had just focused on marketing, you know, for the movie. And I get that. He's a Hollywood guy. He's got to do what he's got to do. But Rob Liefeld was the nail in the coffin for me. Because it was like, if you were standing next shoulder to shoulder, because according to Rob Liefeld, he was standing shoulder to shoulder with Feige. And then Feige just totally snubbed him and just walked away and didn't even acknowledge him.
Wow. And
on top of that, too, when it came to the credit, they were like fighting him to not give him credit. And so that set me off, because it was like, I can't believe that even to this day, 2025, I could understand early 2000s. I could understand, you know, even the first Avengers movie, 2012, of not acknowledging comic books, because Hollywood types don't like comic book people. And that's a common truth that a lot of comic book fans don't really understand about Hollywood. Hollywood is very elite, very snobbish types. And they view comics, just like we saw in that video with Harlan Ellison. They view comic books as just like trash media. And forgetting the fact that if it weren't for these comic books and the stories that were written and remembered by readers, there wouldn't be no MCU at all. And the fact that you snubbed someone like Rob Liefeld, who, by the way, his character creation, Deadpool, alongside Wolverine in the same movie under the Disney banner, saved your ass. Because what was that one bomb that came out with Salma Hayek and the Eternals?
Eternals,
yeah. That movie bombed like hell. They were in trouble. And if it wasn't for Deadpool and Wolverine, do you think like people would be hyped for the new MCU or Fantastic Four at this point? Or Daredevil Reborn? No way. He had to force, in other words, the fandom forced his hand to go back to hopefully the core of the book. But the fact that he snubbed Liefeld, the fact that he's kind of just like pretending like there's not a huge lore, you know, that's underneath the movies.
These characters.
It's a slap in the face to the comic book fans who spend a lot of money on the movies and the DVDs and the toys. It's a slap in the face to the creators who came before him. And honestly, in Kevin Feige at this point, I'm not afraid to say it, he's a bona fide coffee runner if it wasn't for the MCU, if it wasn't for the comic books that came before that. But what are your thoughts, Kai? Do you care? Like, does it bother you as much as it bothers me regarding this?
I definitely think these creators and stuff should definitely be acknowledged for their their creation of these characters and properties. I mean, does Hollywood and stuff like that, I mean, like, every time that I see movies that are based off of novels and stuff, most of the time they acknowledge the writer of the novel.
Oh, dude, are you kidding me? J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, George Martin's Game of Thrones, Stephen King presents It. I mean, why is it so easy to do that, but it's not for the comic? Why can't we say Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's Avengers? Why can't we say Joe Simon and Jack Kirby's Captain America? Or
Yeah.
Stan Lee and Bill Everett's Daredevil? You know?
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Gil Kane and Bill Finger for Batman.
Yeah, Bob Kane.
Bob Kane.
Bob Kane and Gil Kane presents Batman. It's something. I mean, it's not hard to do, but I understand why. Because Hollywood types, for the most part, are creatively bankrupt and they can't create anything out of thin air, just like the writers and the artists who came before. Crenshaw says comic books are low art. People in Hollywood and a culture where appearance is everything can't enjoy low art. Yeah. I mean, I don't consider comic books low art. I mean, maybe they do. And I'm sure you don't consider low art either, Crenshaw. But that's the problem. That's the issue with these Hollywood types. Is like you have to remember, like, like at least Wesley Snipes acknowledges the comic book. Because if it weren't for Blade, you think Wesley Snipes would have had a second win in his career? Hell no, he wouldn't. No way. He understood what he had when he got Blade into his lap. He's like, I want to make this into a movie. And I know I kill it because I'm Wesley Snipes. And because he knew martial arts. He knew martial arts. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
And at the time, he still had a little bit of weight, in terms of getting things done. And it paid off. He risked it and he played off. It paid off big time because Blade is now considered to be a classic.
Yeah.
But at least Wesley Snipes can acknowledge the comic book that came before him.
It just seems like most
and he
of the
probably
time,
read as a kid too.
Yeah, it just seems like most of the time the Hollywoods, they just settle, oh, well, we'll just make you a cameo in the movie. And then that will be your...
Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's cool. But, it'd be nice if you at least can acknowledge who created this character you're making millions and billions of dollars off of from now. You didn't create this. You didn't create this. You took this from a fan base that's already there. And then that fan base pretty much promoted the movie for you by telling their friends who are not comic book readers, you need to watch this because I read the comic book and it's going to be great. And they go and watch it based on your friends' recommendation.
And I mean, according to the tweet and everything, though, it doesn't seem like LIFO was necessarily asking for any extra money or anything like that. Nope. It was just for acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm. Simple respect. That's it. A simple, oh, hey, Mr. LIFO, hey, just thank you again for your contribution, man. I mean, without you, man, we wouldn't be here right now. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But the fact that they didn't invite his family into the after party, the fact that they gave him, I guess, the runaround regarding who created what. And I mean, say what you will. I know there's a lot of people who don't like Rob Liefeld personally because they see him as pompous. I don't see him that way. I just see it as like, look, dude, this guy was a innovative artist during a time where it was the boom.
Yeah.
And he flourished not because he was handed the keys to the kingdom and he was like inherited. The market forces chose him to be the best.
And he created the characters that are recognizable.
Yeah, dude, today. Cable, Deadpool, Domino. I mean, you can't sneeze at that. You can't discount that.
Yeah.
And the fact is, it's like, who else can do that? Not many people can do that. I don't think. I mean, I think Tom McFarlane did Venom, but that was only one character. But do multiple ones, and on top of that, you make a bunch of money.
Yeah, especially I mean, it's one thing taking an already established character and making them really popular, but to make from scratch your own famous household name character, and it's from the 90s too. It's not like it's like Iron Man or something like that from like the 60s or Fantastic Four from the 50s or some 60s. It's fairly recent that Deadpool was created.
Oh yeah, 90s, early 90s.
Yeah,
early 90s, and it blew up again because the readers just liked Deadpool. They're like, dude, I like this assassin or this mercenary. He's really funny. I want more of him, and the publisher gave him more.
Well, because of all this, though, I think I mean he said in that post he's not gonna work for Marvel anymore.
No, apparently it's not. It goes beyond the movies. It's the comic book people too who work at Marvel who are disrespecting him, which is like I just it boggles my mind. I just can't believe that there's certain people, maybe not all of them, but there's certain people who work at Marvel Comics currently who are happy and are cheering at the fact that he's no longer going to be working for Marvel. When in fact it's like you guys wouldn't have a job if it weren't for this. Not just Rob Liefeld, but the other people who worked with them during that time: Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, Tom McFarlane.
Well, Jim Lee, he's at DC right now, so
He's at DC, but you have to. I guess what a lot of comic book creators, especially indie, especially the young generation who are currently working at DC and Marvel, they don't understand the shoulders they're standing on right now. The Shuster and Siegel, like if Superman did not hit, you and I wouldn't be on this channel talking about comic books, Kyle,
nah.
because the medium would have died. It would have just became this fossilized thing of yesteryear. Like, oh yeah, comic books. It's like a newspaper thing, right?
Yeah, like the funnies.
Yeah, like the funnies. Oh yeah, in the back of the newspaper. But because of Shuster and Siegel and their creation of Superman, they essentially helped keep the industry going because of how much they sold of that Superman strip that eventually became a comic book. And then of course Batman came after, and then Wonder Woman, and then so on and so forth. But over the years, you've had creations, and Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's another one that came after them, where they created these new characters, and now they're to this day, once again, like I said, Disney acquired Marvel for what, $2 billion because of the value that all the creators who came after Kirby and Stan Lee and Bill Everett and Roy Thomas and John Romita Sr. That's why they were able to sell it for $2 billion, because they set the foundation and everyone else built around that foundation.
I feel like the only person that I think of that did get any type of credit or something like that was Stan Lee, where he was just kind of became like the face of
he put himself
Marvel.
There. Yeah, he put himself there, and hey, I got no problems with that. But at the same time, it's I know there's gonna be a lot of Stan Lee fans out there, and maybe a lot of people may not like what I'm going to say, but it appears from my own research that Stan Lee didn't really provide that much regarding creating half of the characters that we all love. I'd say it was probably, I'm going to say 80% Kirby and 20% Stan Lee on most of those creations. That's my opinion. I know people will probably try to hang me for that, but that's just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but based on what I've researched, because of course I want to know, I'm going to say, I'm going to say 80% Kirby, 20% Stan Lee, because I go by history, right? So I'll ask you guys this question, for those who are probably steaming at me right now, or screaming on your screen about like, how can you say that about Stan Lee? All I have to ask you is this: when Jack Kirby left Marvel and went to DC, he created another thing that's still to this day beloved and built upon, which is the Fourth Worlds: Darkseid, Orion, New Genesis, Apocalypse, New Gods, right? But what did Stan Lee create after that? After Kirby, after all that? Nothing. He didn't create nothing new. He just stuck with what he already knew, which is fine. But I always go by that. Who created the most unique characters? And Kirby was the one that has the track record for me, which is why I always, he's the king, man. Like, he's truly the king of creation. And I think every comic book creator, be it a writer or an artist, you should always study Kirby. I still do to this day, because he is the golden standard of being creative.
Yeah.
And not being held down by anything other than your own shortcomings or your own insecurities. So another thing about Kevin Feige is that, the new Daredevil show that everyone's hyped about now, that wasn't Kevin Feige's creation.
No,
that was Frank Miller and David Machinelli. believe that's how you pronounce his
Martinelli?
last name.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Born Again, of a classic storyline that two artists got together and said, "I got this idea," and it became a classic. And now it's going to be this huge TV show, and guess who's going to pat himself in the back? It's going to be Kevin Feige.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Frank Miller is really chomping at the bit to wanting to be recognized for everything.
I think he's probably going to be recognized for that. Yeah, Stripperella, but that was come on, man. Stripperella. Yeah, he had a hand in it. I thought, yeah, he did, but that was, I mean, I'm talking about like right after the success of, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Hulk, Fantastic
Ghost
Four,
Rider.
X-Men. The Stanley Creek Ghost Rider.
He might have worked on it.
But who created?
No, probably not.
No, who? Well, if
Mike
anyone in the chat
Wu.
knows who created Ghost Rider, please let me know. I don't think he created Ghost Rider though.
Says
But I
Mike
will give
Wu.
Stanley his credit. He did write great stories, and he did help keep the industry healthy by recruiting new blood that he could. He at least had a good eye to spot talent and hire them to run things.
Yeah.
So I could give Stanley credit for that, for sure. But in terms of creating new IP, Kirby all the way. No doubt, in my mind.
So do you think that just like, what if you ever run into, any of these creators that don't necessarily want their name on the credits or something like that? Have you ever come across that, or anybody saying that? Or do you feel like it should just automatically be, even if you don't necessarily care if your credits are listed, that you
I
should
think
still be
Alan Moore.
recognized?
I think Alan Moore is the only one that I know of off the top
Yeah.
of my head who literally said, he literally called DC offices and said, take my name off of that right now. And the checks that you're gonna send it to the colorist, send it to the letterer. I don't want it. I don't want your money. Bye. Hung up. I think he's the only one who said, I don't want my name on any of that stuff. So if V for Vendetta, take my name off. Watchmen, take my name off. I think he agreed to the animated version that just came out recently on HBO Max.
Oh, really?
And it could be because Dave Gibbons probably convinced him to do it because it was animated. So I think he convinced him on the fact that they're going to stick like completely to the book that we wrote. And maybe that's what convinced them. But when it came to Hollywood, like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, take my name off. Like, don't bother. And so he's the only one, man. He's the only one that stuck to his guns. Everyone else, I mean, I understand, dude. Like it's a check. You're gonna get a check now for the rest of your life. So why not have your name on it? And that's fine.
That's probably the reason why they didn't want to put the name on there, because that's another check that they have to write.
There you go. Now it falls in line with the greed that came with it. So Benjamin, our encyclopedia, said Gary Frederick and Roy Thomas created Ghost Rider. There you go. There you go. So yeah, it's just a simple gesture, man. Like, just who created this character? Let's give them the proper credit and make sure they get paid what's owed to them, because we're gonna make a whole bunch of money here, with this movie. So they deserve to get some of that, because if it weren't for the popularity of this character, of this book, or this series, we wouldn't be here making the movie. Because the reason why they're making the movie is because it's guaranteed money. That's a simple like reasoning. So it's not hard to just simply say Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Or in this instance with Rob Liefeld, I think they give him credit, but he wants it in the forefront. Rob Liefeld's Deadpool. What's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that.
Do you think that the movies and the TV shows and stuff like that could almost use that as like an incentive to create new characters that like like once you write for us, you create a character, and then if it gets popular enough in the comic books and we make a movie of it, then that's your your ticket to getting money, your benefit, because you did the legwork already to create the character.
So I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that question. So
Like
you think incentive to want to do that or not want to do
yeah,
that?
an incentive like for new creators. It's like to do well in making comic books.
I think that is a clause in your agreement when you do work for either Marvel or DC, because I don't think they do full on employment. I think it's still work for hire, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. I have a feeling, again, I'm an outsider looking in, so you can't quote me on this as gospel, but I have a feeling that the editorial discourages that.
Yeah.
Unless you're like a good friend of theirs and they want you to, succeed, they'll probably let you create a new character. But if you're not talented enough, it's like, well, like how are you gonna get that when a lot of the time the popularity of new characters happens by chance.
Yeah.
And it also happens on whether or not the person who created it is talented and skilled enough, because Rob Liefeld was talented and skilled during his peak days of drawing comic books regularly. And so why not create new characters? Okay, you're going to give me a D-list book? All right, I'll have my fun with it. Can I create new characters? Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, go have fun. He created new characters. It sold like hotcakes. And I'm sure at that point, editorial were like, damn it. Damn it. Now he's going to be rich forever.
But like, even now I'm just like kind of thinking here, like, well, where does the recognition stop per se, I guess, in terms like the characters, like in the credits, does every single person that created every single character get the recognition? Like for the Avengers, like, okay, credit to the person who created Iron Man, the person who created Captain America, the person who created Black Widow and Ant-Man, and
no, that's a good point. I would at that point I think it'd just be at the end. It's just better to wait until the end. But that'll be an exception. But if it's a single character, then just why not? But even if they don't want to, that's fine, because Disney owns those IPs, so they can do whatever they want with them, and that's okay. But don't snub the guy who pretty much saved your ass and saved your job, essentially. And from what I hear, I think I don't know if the rumors are true or not, but it sounds like Ryan Reynolds was told by Disney to do a bunch of stuff, and he did it because apparently She-Hulk was supposed to make an appearance, and I think Captain Marvel was also supposed to make an appearance, and they shot it, but then he just cut them out of the movie, and that probably pissed off Disney. But there must have been an agreement there that was ironclad before Disney bought 20th Century. And so I think Ryan Reynolds still had some sway to say, yeah, okay, we'll appease you, but in the final cut, I could cut it out if I want to. And he did.
Yeah.
He did. And it pissed off the She-Hulk actress, because this was her chance, I guess, to redeem herself as the She-Hulk character. And I think Ryan Reynolds was like, nah, you're not gonna do it here. So, maybe that's what happened. Maybe Disney just wants to move in a totally different direction, and maybe they're not going to bring back Ryan Reynolds, or maybe if they do, they're going to make sure that he does exactly what they want him to do as Deadpool.
Yeah. Either way, though, it seems like it's an unnecessary burned bridge that happened.
Yeah, for sure. Crenshaw asked, let's say they decide to make a movie based very specifically on the particular storyline of Claremont's X-Men. Does Claremont get the credit? Good question. Yeah,
I read that, and I was thinking, because I just watched Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
And I don't think it, like, I think it was just one issue, right? That storyline was. It's,
Here, just for you, Fred, just for you. There you go, the green monk over there.
because Days of Future Past was just one issue, I think, right?
It was 2 issues.
It was 2 issues.
It was a
Okay.
2-issue storyline. I think at that point, Crenshaw, I would still do Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's X-Men, but then during the credit scene in the beginning of the movie, you know, when they're showing up the credits of who's starring and everything, written
Yeah.
by whatever, then you put in based on the story by John Byrne or Chris Claremont and John Byrne. And there you have it. There's your solution to that.
And Chris Claremont did make a cameo in the movie.
He did.
So
Ben says, I don't think so. A lot of work was done under work for that's the murky water, is the work for hire contract that you signed. And that I don't know about now, but I know back in the 80s, you pretty much signed away your rights to like the characters you create to the company that you created it for. But Rob Liefeld was smart enough to get himself that deal that pretty much provided him a freaking great meal ticket for the rest of his life.
yeah.
So kudos to him for realizing, okay, look, I know about Bill Finger. I know what happened to him. I know
I'm
what
not
happened
gonna do
to
that.
Yeah, I know what happened to the other people that I learned about as I broke into the industry. I'm going to make sure not to do that when I
Right.
become, a big name. And smart. I would say anybody who still wants to work for Marvel and DC, hey, by all means, go for it if you want to work for Marvel and DC. Just when you go in there, just know what you're getting, and you're not going to get that free ride like you did back in the 90s, because now Marvel and DC are owned by big conglomerate corporations who don't want to share profit with you. They want everything themselves.
Yeah.
And again, that's fine. They own the IPs. They have a right to earn, to get back their investment. But don't get these grand dreams of one day my character that I create for Marvel is going to be a big time character, because it may not happen anymore. That's why I always say, go indie, do your own IP, push for that, be the next Eastman and Laird, be the next, be the next Tom McFarlane with Spawn, or Rob Liefeld with Youngblood, or Jim Lee with Wildcats. Wildcats is still a beloved book. It's just, Jim Lee, just for whatever reason, DC doesn't want to redo Wildcats for some stupid reason. I don't understand why. They're sitting on a bunch of money with Wildcats,
And he's the head of DC, so it's like,
yeah.
I mean, if you want to be pushing his own stuff,
yeah, dude, and just find an artist who can kill it with the Wildcats. Find a writer who can kill it with the stories. I mean, it's not that hard to make money these days. It's just that for whatever reason they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But Eric Larson, I know Eric Larson is a very polarizing character in the comic book scene, but again, respect to him for keeping his IP intact with Savage Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only one out of all Tom McFarlane, who still is drawing and writing Savage Dragon. And you know what? You got to respect him for that. As much as you may not like his book anymore, when I see Savage Dragon on the stands, I'm like, dude, props to you, Mr. Larson, for keeping it going. Even though from what I hear is falling off the wayside, but it's his.
Still has it.
He can do whatever he wants with it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why on this channel, Kyle and I, we love Marvel and DC comic books. We love reading them. We're not here to tell you not to read what you don't want to read.
Right.
We're here to just simply state, don't falter on your respect to the people who came before you, especially if you're a Hollywood producer or a Hollywood director, because, your mansion that you're living in right now was paid for by the creators who built those stories for you before you. And so don't walk around like you think you're hot shit, because if Kevin Feige ever listens to this, which I doubt.
No, he is.
Yeah. You you're not that great of a creative, Mr. Feige. You are a bona fide, like I said, a glorified coffee runner for a production company. You just got lucky. You got lucky that you figured out the formula of how to properly adapt a comic book into a movie and streamline it. Kudos to you on that.
Mhm.
But don't ever disrespect the people who made it happen for you to be able to succeed in your own career.
I'll
And
make
that
sure
goes
to
for the
tell him
publishers
that.
too.
I'll make sure to tell him that when I meet him at the
Yeah.
convention.
you make sure that Julia sends his regards, Kyle.
Yeah. I'll just play that little 5-second clip right there.
Yeah. He's gonna be like, yeah, he's gonna just, I mean, I'm gonna go back to my mansion, so I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he doesn't care. I'm sure he doesn't, and that's fine. But now I'm like, dude, I can't believe you had the gall to just do that to Rob Liefeld. Crenshaw says, would all 3 versions of the Hellboy movies be Magnolia's Hellboy? Would every Batman on film be Finger and King's Batman? I would say yeah. Yeah. I'd say yeah. Those 3 Hellboy movies, they wouldn't be movies without Magnolia. That's a straight up fact. Same thing with Batman. There would be no Nolan's Batman, no what's the other guy? Zack Snyder's Batman, without Bill Kane and Bob Kane and Bill Finger.
No, Adam West Batman.
No, and yeah, I mean, just it's not hard. Batman created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's not hard. If Stephen King can have his name in the front, so can those creators too. And if you want to specifically, adapt adapt a specific storyline, then yeah, in the mid scroll, story by, Chris Claremont and John Byrne. That's it. That's pretty much it. That just show a little bit of respect, and that a little bit of respect can take you a long way. That's like a natural law thing. You just give someone the proper respect, and they'll give it right back to you. And if they don't, then they're in the wrong. And Kevin Feige and Disney are in the wrong here in this case with Rob Liefeld. So it's just a shame that it turned out this way. But again, like I said earlier, go indie, do your own thing, and push your own stuff and get people excited for your own stuff. And if Hollywood comes knocking, then hey, sit them down and go, here's my deal, take it or leave it, because you're here because you can get rich off of me. You knocked on my door. I didn't knock on your door. Right. You want them to knock on your door. That should be your goal. That should be my goal. That should be anyone's goal who wants to make comic books into a living. Is you want them to knock on your door and say, I want to make this into a movie or a TV show, whatever. And you say, okay, well, what's the deal? And you get the benefit of the deal, not the other way around, because they're there because they need you, not the other way around. Well, honestly, Finger and Kane sounds like the best fried chicken place ever. Benjamin says Kyle plays the clip for Feige and he runs away in tears afterwards. If only. But yeah, I mean, Kyle, any other thoughts before I start rambling some more?
I know, yeah, I'm just letting you go. You got a lot of
thank
stuff
you for that. Yeah, because I'm telling you, it irked me, like pissed me off. I was like, I can't believe these Hollywood types continue to disrespect these creatives who pretty much, like I said, made them a bunch of money. But go on, Kyle.
I think we said a lot of stuff, and Kevin Feige, if he's watching, he'll run away in tears because of all the mean-spirited things that he said. But
coffee runner.
Like I meant, just like I said, though, it seems like with this situation with Rob Liefeld, it's a very unnecessary bridge that they burned. That could have been something that they could have just ended on a good note. No sour grapes, nothing, no hard feelings type of thing. Okay, yeah, maybe we didn't mention you, but all right, come to the party. We'll post a news article that says, "Thank you, Rob Liefeld, for all your years at Marvel, and
Yeah.
thanks
Yeah.
for everything."
Yeah, that's
They
it.
could have just done that.
Yeah, and that would have been fine. You don't delete the photos if that was true.
Yeah.
You don't just invite someone to an after party if that is true. Yeah, again, remember, everything's alleged. We don't really know for sure. We gotta take his word for
Assuming
it.
it is.
Yeah, we gotta take his word for it. And if that happened, then it's kind of like, dude, like Deadpool and Wolverine made a crap load of money. They pretty much put you guys back in the green after the failure of the Captain Marvel movie, of the Eternals, and all the bad press you got from the Blade movie. They couldn't even make a freaking Blade movie anymore. They had so much trouble making a Blade movie.
It's still in development.
Yeah, it's still in
themselves.
development hell. And here you are snubbing the one guy who pretty much made you a bona fide for sure hit.
Yeah.
And
In the time that you needed it.
at the time that you desperately needed it.
Yeah.
And you can't even bring yourself to at least appreciate the fact that he created the character. Maybe he didn't have anything to do with the movie. Okay, that's fine. But you're making the movie based off his character like that he created, and you can't just simply shake his hand and just give him a quick little quip like, "Oh, thanks, man, and appreciate nice meeting you. I'll see you around. I got to do my rounds, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do." But it's a bad look for Marvel. It's a bad look for Kevin Feige, and we're not here to tell people to stop watching Marvel. You could do whatever you want. I just had a vent.
We're still gonna go see in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I'm still gonna watch Fantastic Four. It's just that for me, it's just a matter of respect. It's a simple act of respect. And since I'm a comic book creator myself, at one point, I'm hoping one day someone comes knocking on my door and wants to make a movie or a TV show of something that I did. But thankfully I have the knowledge of this, as well as Bill Finger, as well as Jack Kirby, and who's the other one, the Steve Ditko with the creation of Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
And then of course the Shuster story, how they got screwed over by DC Comics at the time for Superman. And you just got to remember, guys, like, we live in a country where you can create your own industry. We are enfranchised citizens of a republic. You, Kyle, can start up a business whenever you want. Same thing with me. Same thing with everyone else. Our combo creations that's our IP. That's our intellectual property. And you can take it wherever you like. It's yours. You own it legally.
And you can sell it.
And you can sell it. You could build something off of it. George Lucas had an idea for a sci-fi movie. He wrote a script. That was his IP. And he developed it. He produced it. He made it into a solidified film IP, and it blew up.
I just want the toy rights. That's all I want.
Yeah. Well, he had to wait. He had to wait until the 90s to get the toy rights back. But yeah, that's the upside to living in the US, is that you can do that. And that's why Eastman and Laird blew up, because they created something that was uniquely theirs, and they built a huge industry around the Turtles until they sold it off to Viacom a couple years back. But they wrote on that. They kept their IP rights intact until they decided to get rid of it. And I think Laird is the one who it was Laird who decided to want to retire and just live the rest of his days in his cabin somewhere in Maine. Yeah. But good on him. He deserved it. He deserved it.
He did it. Yeah, he did 50% of the work. So
yeah, exactly. And
Eastman's still out there, going to all the
yeah, and that's great. If he still has energy, hey, that's awesome. Do it. Yeah. Go for it. You're going to create a whole new generation of fans because of that. And people don't forget that he's a co-creator of the Turtles. But again, if it weren't for Laird and Eastman, there would be no Turtles today. There would be no cartoon series, no movies, none of that stuff. At least they can appreciate they give the names to the people who created the Turtles.
Yeah.
So just remember, guys, like I specifically am all about indie. I'm all for indie creators, and protect your IP rights. Hold on to it as much as you can. If you want to sell it off, sell it off. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the great thing about living here, is that you're able to do all that stuff and own it, and no one can take it from you. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but Liefeld was smart enough to go, okay, I know these characters I can't take with me, but I'm going to cut myself a nice, sweet deal for them, because I created something that's making them a lot of money, and that's not lost on me. I'm not lost on that at all. I realize it, and so I'm going to sign a contract to make sure I get what's owed to me.
Yeah.
And so take a page from his playbook. Always keep that in mind when you create anything, be it a short story, a novel, or a comic book. It's yours, and copyright it, trademark it, and get the ISBN number so you can sell it as many places as you can. And then when the time comes when you're finally able to make some good money off of it, then go for it, because it's yours. So that's all I wanted to talk about, Kyle. Honestly, it's just
Okay.
a simple gesture of respect can go a long way. And the fact that Hollywood keeps doing this, keeps disrespecting the comic book creator, is mind-boggling to me in 2025.
Right. And especially with the comic book industry that's been around for, decades now.
Yeah, dude, since the 20s, I think they started up as newspaper prints. And then the comic book became a thing, and there you had a newsstand, and then it morphed into the direct market with the comic book shops, specialty stores, as they call them back then.
Oh, yeah.
And here we are at the tail end of it. Some people think it's the end. I personally think it's the beginning of a new renaissance. It's just a matter of how you get yourself out there. How many Stan Lees can prop up, in this? Because everyone's creative. There's no doubt about it. People are being creative right now. But how do you make yourself a business person to sell your books? What avenues are you going to take to get your books in the hands of as many readers as possible, competing with Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, etc.? So that's the question.
You need to build those experiences.
That's right. That's right.
You need to like and comment on this video.
That's right. Crenshaw says, one more question. What if they made a movie based on the Absolute Batman? I still say Finger and Kane, Batman, Absolute Story by Scott Snyder and Nick DeGroda. I still say middle scroll in the credits if done.
Yeah.
Would be cool, along with the thank yous to the creators. They also listed in the issue numbers of the books they left their story plots. Yeah. And that could be at the end too. I
mean, most of the time, there's YouTube videos that come out afterwards and say, "Oh yeah, okay, so this is the story that's based off of, issues 23 and 24."
Yeah, well, maybe not that specific, but just the names. Like, I'm looking at you, Christopher Nolan, and Killing Joke. Looking at you, because obviously the Dark Knight was an obvious adaptation of the Killing Joke. I mean, I don't know. Was I the only one who picked up on that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it has Joker in it, obviously.
Yeah, but the whole idea of doing crazy things to turn people.
Yeah.
To turn and get them to turn on each other because of one bad day,
Yeah. Instead of Gordon, he was more tormenting Harvey.
Yeah, Harvey Dent. Well, not just Harvey Dent, but also the whole city of Gotham.
Yeah. It just kind of turned it up to 11.
Yeah. And then of course the Dark Knight Rises, which was obviously the Bane story of
Nightfall.
And they didn't credit what's his name? Graham Nolan and Chuck Dixon for that.
Yeah.
So shame on DC for that one. What if Rob Liefeld created a Deadpool character? His name would be Dreadpool, a Jamaican mercenary who gets his powers from his drugs. Would that be okay?
I mean, I assume so.
You're pretty, man. maybe I'm not sure. Oh, you vape.
As long as he keeps the rights, I guess.
Yeah, as long as he keeps the rights. But yeah, guys, I know typically around this time we jump into is it worth the pickup, but however this week we have to skip it over because I have some relatives over, and I just decided to do the first half of the show. So we're gonna save the Rome Eternal review for the next show, and since the third issue is coming out this coming Wednesday, we're gonna review both issues 2 and 3 on the next show. So we're gonna hold off on that one because we're gonna end the show right now because I think that's pretty much covers it, right, Kyle? Or is there anything else I may have missed?
Pretty much just, the normal stuff that we always say. Like I said, like, comment, share the video, watch the video, share it with other people, and of course, read more comics.
Read more comics. Crenshaw says, imagine if the movie studios would put out those YouTube videos as tie-in to the movie. Dude, no lie, Crenshaw, that was an idea I had back in 2012 when The Dark Knight Rises came out. I remember specifically, I was talking to a coworker. I used to work at Crate & Barrel years ago, and I was in the back talking to a coworker, and we were talking about The Dark Knight Rises, and I told him, dude, can you imagine if Warner Brothers just invested a little bit of money to make these short movies that ties in with the movie itself and get people to want to watch the movie? And he said, "What would be an example of that?" And I told him, "Well, in the Dark Knight Rises, we find out that Robin was in the movie the whole time. We just didn't know until the end.
Yeah,
it would be cool if they did like a short 10-minute movie where we get to see him in action as Nightwing.
Yeah,
under not Nolan directed, but maybe someone who Nolan handpicks to do it. That would be cool. That would be pretty rad." So that's interesting. You have the same idea. See, man, great minds think alike, Crenshaw. But that would be cool. If studios would just do that, I think he's right. I think it would cause a lot more hype for people to want to watch the movie itself in the theater. Because it's like, you like this. Oh, and the comic book too.
And bring them to comic books. I think that's what Crenshaw is more trying to get at. Get people to go to the comic books.
Right. They should, but they won't because Hollywood views comic books as trash.
Yeah,
they really do. So it's a shame because I think I'm a believer that rising water does elevate all boats, and if they had done that simple gesture of like, hey guys, go to the comic book shop. Like, if it weren't for these comic books, these movies wouldn't be made. So go check them out, read them, go to the back bins, and that's it. That's all it would have taken. And The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson tried to do that with Black Adam.
Oh yeah.
So when you went to the theater, they gave you free comics, but that was kind of too little, too late at that point, I think.
Yeah, and the movie didn't do necessarily.
And the movie bombed, and the movie wasn't great. I fell asleep. Actually, that was the first movie I fell asleep on.
Which is so sad too, because Pierce Brosnan played Dr. Fate.
Oh, he was so good.
He was so good. He's my favorite character.
Yeah, he was so perfect. And I actually did like Hawkman in that movie too. But
they had good stuff.
Yeah, they did.
That movie frustrates me a little.
Oh, dude, let's not get started on that one.
I know, and we'd be here another hour.
Yeah, I know. We'll be here for another hour. But yeah, guys. So we're gonna skip over. Is it worth the pickup for the next show? Thank you again for joining us for this talk. I wanted to get this off my chest because it really did, like I said, irk me and it pissed me off because again, there's no reason for that at all. None. And, a simple thank you. That's it. That's enough for Rob Liefeld, because he did sound, if you listen to his podcast, which I recommend, his podcast is thoroughly entertaining. If you haven't heard his podcast, he did sound a bit kind of like down about it. Kind of like, damn, man, like I can't believe they did that to me.
Yeah,
I can't believe they actually snubbed me like that. Like you could tell, you could hear the pain in his voice that he was more upset.
Disappointed.
Yeah, disappointed. There you go. Than like pissed off or like angry, because like he said in some of his other tweets, he's not asking for more money.
Right.
He's just wanted a simple, acknowledgement. That's it. So yeah, that's why I hate Hollywood. I really hate Hollywood. It's just a bunch of. It seems like Hollywood has been taken over by a bunch of creative, bankrupt, jealous, petty losers. Yeah, I said it. And I typically don't try to sound negative or be negative, but I'm basing it off of stories I heard personally from friends who went to LA and Hollywood to work and try to make it there, and they came back broken because of a bunch of backstabbing from people who were scared that they were going to outshine the people who were there for years before them.
Yeah.
Because I came from a very I think during the time I went to school, when I went to college, I feel like I was surrounded by a bunch of talented people that I would see like their short films in my film school, and I got to know a lot of aspiring screenwriters and also aspiring producers and aspiring film directors, and I would watch we all work together, and you could see the talent that like, dude, this guy is gonna be a great director one day. Like I could see it in this little 5-minute short film, and they would take off. I'll stay in touch with them via email, or at that point it was MySpace, and we would keep in touch. Yeah, I go way back, and so we keep in touch via MySpace, and then like next thing I know, they're back, and I'm like, dude, what happened? He's like, dude, like I got an internship at a production company, and like 6 months in, the guy, some douchebag, lied about me, and I messed up on finding something that I got fired. I got let go. I was like, damn. Or other stories of like, oh, I had this idea. I said I shared it with my coworker, and next thing I know, we're at a team meeting, and my boss is singing the praises of my coworker who gave him this idea that I gave him. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like, again, untalented hacks that took over. A bunch of ass kissers that took over. Yeah, no integrity. A bunch of ass kissers who just went up the ladder by just kissing ass. And all the talented people got pushed out. And so I see it. It's now I can see it with Rob Liefeld. He's not even, he's not immune to it.
Right.
So
it's even as big as he is.
Yeah, it's reached that level. And so screw the Netflix pitches. Just make your comic book and just focus on that.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's it. That's it for the show tonight.
All right.
I got nothing else to show you. I got nothing to talk about other than that. So yeah, like Kyle says, build those experiences. And I don't have a video for you that I usually try to look for a video to share with you guys. To end the show. I don't think I have any. Let me just look real quick, see if I have anything here. No, I don't. So hold on. Let me see one more place here.
But again, like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Yeah. Watch the video after the fact. It always helps us out.
Yes.
Come back and watch our live streams.
And we're a show, again, to remind everyone, we're a show that we like talking about the topics and the issues in hand. We like to look at it through a lens of objectivity and see if we can find solutions, or just pretty much, or like vent like I did tonight.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, yeah, you did. Yeah. But that just shows you how passionate I am about the medium and about the industry and about just simple respect. That's it. Yeah. And I know Rob Liefeld is not gonna watch this and invite me over to his house or anything like that, but it's just a gesture of goodwill to remind everyone, especially those who are watching, who are aspiring creators yourselves, just always remember, you shine a certain kind of brightness, and there's always going to be people who see it and want to just kill that shine because you're gonna outshine them. And
Yeah.
I'm in the school of thought of like, no, the more people we have shining, the healthier this industry will get, because we're gonna have the opportunity to showcase our stories, our talent, and also build up new fandoms that are going to get people to spread, the good word about our works, our pieces of art. And so always stick with that. Always remember that. Don't aspire for Hollywood. Aspire for readership. That's what you want. You want a readership. You want fans of your work. That's the true golden standard for comic books and art.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
There you
We'll
go.
see you in the next one, guys. Hit the like. We'll see you next week. Rome Eternal number 2.
Number 2 and number 3.
2 and 3. And yeah, we'll see what happens next week, because every week seems like something crazy is happening here in the industry.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I know, right? All right, guys, you take it easy. Have a good weekend. Peace.
Bye.